Hope everybody's doing well. Just chilling with Samson and little girl. I don't have a lot to say. I don't know what to say at this point. There's been so much since I started doing this that we've talked about on both channels. And somehow I don't even think it matters that I deleted the other one. I'm just going to ramble for a moment or two just to give people the chance to come into the conversation if they want to. Should we turn the comments on? Yeah. Let's. Okay. Hi, little friend. Well, I guess we'll kind of jump right into it. There are a lot of people, not just me, talking about very similar things that I'm talking about. And none of us have ever met. Most of us, I mean, I can't say, let's try not to use, let's learn that lesson. Let's not use definitives unless we are absolutely certain and it is definitive. There are a lot of people who've been talking about the same things for several years now. And most of us have never met, don't know each other. We're probably kept from knowing each other, if the truth be told. And it's not because, and I don't know how to phrase this properly, but it's not because any one of us is like a stellar, the epitome of importance in this play or chess game or whatever. But at the same time, each and every one of us is necessary and has a purpose and is essential. I'm anti-genocide and euthanasia and all that stuff. But I am for free will and knowing and willing consent. A lot of people have been talking about the same things, and we've been abused for it, silenced for it, oppressed because of it, repressed, hidden, cut off, cast out, blackballed. But I'm going to show you this time. Oh my gosh, Sammy is sawing logs, guys. But like I always try to do, I'm going to back up my words with some physical proof because I know that we're each different types of learners. Some of you are visual learners, some of you are oral learners, some are tactile learners. I'm all of the above. Sometimes it takes every way for me to learn a process of a thing, But I want to show you that you are loved and people are trying to come together as much as we are able to in this strange set of circumstances a lot of us find ourselves in with the lockdowns. And I mean, let's be real, let's be honest, our whole lives have been like from that stupid box and that stupid screen mostly. Well, not entirely, because some of our parents have helped and our neighbors have helped. And let me reiterate, we are supposed to be attempting to love these people and praying for them. And if nothing else, praying for them helps you to clear your heart of muck and yuck that might be hiding away in your heart. Not everyone is like that, but we have had it our entire lives thrown at us. Wars, rumors of wars, devastation, things, cataclysms, tragedies, all this stuff. Genocide, euthanasia. The worst of the worst that the worst of the worst that humanity can do. And it seems like in part, and I don't know if it's working because I've not been around a lot of other people, and the ones I am around, I don't judge in that way. It's not, I don't think that's our job. I just know the things that they do, don't seem like they're trying to promote positive change around them. But in order to do that, we have to change our hearts too. All right, I'm going to get to the point because I've rambled for a minute there, and I just want y'all to know you're loved, man. Like, we are loved, and we do love each other, and there are people trying to talk to each other and trying to communicate, but we are kept apart in some circumstances. And I haven't figured everything out yet, and I don't know exactly what is happening in certain areas. But I have enough of the puzzle to know the shape of it. And I know God. But we've lived with tragedy our whole lives. Some type of stressor on us, some type of negative circumstance. And then we're told, well, it's your fault this happens to you, or this is your fault because you're not positive enough. You only give what you get, and all this stuff. Not all of those sayings hold truth. They were put into the verbiage and created with the specific intent of gaslighting people. And I hate that word because, again, I don't like to use these abundantly overused terms that seem to have found their way into the common vernacular. Anyways, I'm going to show you because it's tiring sometimes feeling like you're screaming out from the wilderness and you don't know, like, you can't tell if anyone's listening because you're not even in a place where you can hear, right? Because I'm tucked away myself. Okay. So, dreams of earthquakes. This is how, Sam. This is how the whole channel evolved for me. This is how my whole life, like, went kind of off the rails. And I already know spiritually what an earthquake dream would mean. And it was correct. Like, there was this chasm in my family, and our family was shaken up and cut apart, destroyed, in ruins. I don't know. Satan came in, and I helped to let him in. And so this is my penance, and this is my reparation. So I do take it very, very seriously, and I know people might not watch because of that, and they might turn it off because of that. But what if you could have listened? And what if you could have been a help to people around you? What if you could have changed your circumstances? If you had a little more information. God never does a thing without warning his children. Ever. And this might be why people are trying to, like, I know that certain people are on the team of darkness, even though we talk about similar topics and sometimes we even come at them in the same way. My goal is to expose and bring things to light. Their goal is to distort. Damage control is basically what the team of darkness is doing right now, and they're kind of panicking in part, but is that Buddha? It sure is Buddha. He's just chilling in the middle of the destruction, like, what's up, Buddha? Dang. And okay, so who took all these pictures? Like, I have to know. Who takes the pictures of all this devastation? How is this happening? Because we've seen it since we were children, before the supposed technology existed. So I'm approaching all of this with a very skeptical mind too, even though it happened to me. Oh, there's one. 1 month ago. This is what I was going to talk about. But there it is, right there. The last eclipse, this one, it goes over the New Madrid fault line. And now if you Google this, you are going to get a whole page or two of articles and links from 2019 and on. Okay? You have to ask yourself why the news and these things got so insane at that point in time. And why the celebrities all look so different. And why a lot of them, and especially pastors and ministers who have gone and done mission, who have left the country at this point or left the area, you have to ask yourself why they did that. Now, I know that a lot of things can be faked, and I know that we've gone over this with the green screens. Like, I was one of the first we were one of the first people to start talking about that. Was our channel, our original channel. You, me, all of us. Because it's our channel, it's not my channel. I try not to even, I don't even like being on camera anymore. I'm going through a thing, and I have to make sure that I did everything that I could do to do my part in this time. We should be working. We should work. Did you know, just by coincidence, I was going to the bathroom at 6 this morning, and I accidentally bumped a short. And if you're royalty, quote unquote, if you have a title or access to a title, you can't, if you're not working, then you're not part of the council. So your word doesn't matter at that point if you're not holding some type of public service. So it's not all altruistic or charitable works that they are doing. But at the same time, it encourages everybody to act in your purpose, walk in your divine role, whatever that is. So when we talk about dreams, we're talking about not just what happens when you lay down and go to sleep, but what happens when your heart and mind think about what you want most in this life as you're awake. There's always double entendres. Things always have more than one meaning. And I still think at this point, when we talk about green screens and all this, I still think two of us here. I still think that a lot of the celebrities and a lot of high-profile people are not here. They're not, well, they've left the building. I don't know, right? I think they've left the building in a manner of speaking, but in a couple of different ways. So when this first started for me, my first thing was I had laid down to take a nap in a recliner. It was a very hot summer, and I don't remember if it was right before or right after the first eclipse. Oh my God, my ears are ringing every time. And I've had an earache all day. If you put all these things together, okay, how about the wildfires in California and the videos people were posting and showing you how those were starting? It was under the ground. It was in the ground, and it was rising up. Now, Scripture says that fire will fall from the sky. Yes, it says that. But it doesn't say there's a lot that Scripture doesn't say that has occurred in life. We know this. We can't limit God to that single book. God is divine, right? That's man trying to understand God. And I think, especially now, as far away as we've gotten from that time, we've gotten the lesson mixed up and we're focusing on the wrong thing. Again, illusion, the masters of illusion and deception. We're looking at the wrong things and we're asking the wrong questions. And most people aren't asking questions. Why do you think they were giving out stimulus money? To mitigate any type of... Because you have people who are trying to... individuals who are trying to incite some type of civil war. But then you have other individuals who are really trying to save lives and telling you to stay home, stay safe. What is home in freeze tag? It's safe, right? That's where you go to be safe. They're trying to tell us without causing some type of panic. That or AI is on the fritz, and AI has been running things since 2019. Because when CV first started, President Trump was going to the base in Colorado, or the bunker, whatever it is. And the news changed real quick. We also heard that the Pope had died, but they retracted that. Something bigger is going on, and our information is being highly censored and filtered. But having said that, there is certain, again, there's a good side to this too. Trying to tell people, like, people have been dreaming about this for years now, most of us. Now, I put them in order by date right now, but if you go, so if I scroll, it'll go to like 2, 3, 4 years ago. Now, my first video, one of my first videos, was about this experience, and I do wish the rapture is not going to look like, the rapture doesn't look like people think it does. At least not for most people. It did probably for Mary and Moses and Enoch. They got to, like, their bodies. Anyways. There's a lot going on. In my dream, I'm not going to tell you the whole thing because there's a video about it. But basically, I was made to understand that there was this big quake coming. And I had also dreamt of floods, but I couldn't understand it because the floods were like inland. They were like cities, right? And so that didn't make sense to me. But there wasn't any normalcy. There was nothing normal. I was walking across a bridge, but the area was so flooded that, like, I was in the water. And I was on a high bridge, like you see, like where I grew up in Pittsburgh. Or LA, well, not LA, maybe New York, Brooklyn, that type of bridge. San Francisco. So, what I wanted you to see here is how many people are having these dreams, all right? Very, very many people, a lot of people, for years now. Now, if I go back here and I get rid of the date and I reverse it, oh, no relevance. Okay, let's do that. 2 years ago, oh, my phone is messing up. 6 months ago. Oh, heaven's sakes, don't stop working. Why do you do this to me? Thank you. Now you're supposed, the point is not to, like, stop living, and it's not to be in fear, okay? Not at all. The point is to prepare you, and I'm not the type, my niche, my gifting, my talent, whatever, my area of expertise, I don't know, I'm not an expert though, is not preparing your body. I mean, I can help you with some stuff. I'm handy to have around. I know basic first aid, all that type of stuff. But the channel's main goal was to prepare your spirit and your mind. This shows that people have been having these dreams for years and nothing has happened. I hope nothing happens. I hope nothing happens. But I just feel like it's time to make sure that people have heard. And seriously, at the very least, our media is highly censored at this point. And I'm sorry if you can't realize that, or you don't remember certain things that have happened and all the retractions and the alerts going off in Hawaii and them saying that was fake, that was nothing. Nope, I'm not trying to get people to panic at all. It's not about, so you don't get it. It's not about that at all. I'm definitely not that person. I tell people all the time, it's not about fear, okay? I had it like 4 years ago. And that's this right here, how Paul Begley said it, as a sign of a spiritual shift. That is how I saw it, as like the country being shaken up. And it has been. Like, that has happened. But when you have things happen like that spiritually, something physical always seems to follow. Sure, they said it was an error. We've had a lot of those the last few years. The Pope died. They were going to announce that the Pope died. They retracted that. Who else? What else happened? There was something else, some type of disaster that happened that they said, no, that was nothing. It was false. That didn't happen either. It's not about, I mean, if you panic, if this makes you panic, then you should be preparing your spirit for anything in life that happens. That is my point, is that no matter whether this happens or not, whether something physical occurs or not, we need to all do better. Like you right now, how you're acting and trying to act accusatory before you even hear me out, that's not charitable. That's not how we should be treating each other. And that is my point. And that is the purpose of this channel. And that is my main intention. And it's not about me. It's about trying to do my part and help people. Something has already happened in America. We've already been greatly restricted. Our news is censored. People are going missing at higher rates than ever. A lot of them are military, respiratory therapists. I mean, I've done my due diligence as a citizen, and I'm concerned for my country. I can't hear you. Frankly, I'm content with everything that happens. Exactly. Then woke up in a panic. And see, that's the thing too, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, when I had this dream, it ended up being things that spiritually started occurring. Nothing physical has occurred yet. And again, let's not be presumptuous in trying to assume what my intention is, because now I'm off track and you're not going to know my intention because I've had to sit here and try to correct you. Fear is never the point. It's not about fear. If it makes you panic and if it gets you in fear, then this is a good thing. Then you need to hear what I'm saying. Don't be in fear. But things that happen in the spiritual, the nature of your intentions don't mean you aren't being misled by the internet. That's so funny. I dreamt that before I even, like, I sold makeup online, dude. Like, I didn't do any of this stuff. I was totally lost in materialism. Like, you don't know my story, and that's why I'm doing this. Is because I was flipping lost and I didn't see what was going on around me, and my children ended up being misled because I was a pushover and I didn't stand firm with my in-laws in the fact that I did not want them having access to the internet and cell phones while they were minors. So let's not, I'm trying to remain charitable. If you get in a panic, that is something you have to deal with on your own, or with your maker, or your therapist, or whatever. whatever you feel comfortable, however you feel comfortable sorting that out. I'm doing this because I was a part of the problem. And if you can't appreciate that for what it is, that it's a loving gesture from me to you, well, then I'm sorry for you. Because I'm pretty sure that we're told in advance when we are going to quote unquote die too. Because I don't believe that's what we've been told it is either. And I don't care what you say about that. I don't care how crazy you think I am. It doesn't bother me. I pray for you. I pray for everybody every single day. How are you told in advance? I don't know. I just know that something almost happened to me a few years ago, and it feels like the time I was given to repent of things is almost up. And that's why I'm doing this too. All right? So let's not be, I can't do this. I need to remain in a charitable place. Sometimes you really need to, it's better to just hold your tongue. And I'm learning that too. I'm trying to show you that we are connected, all of us, okay? That a lot of us have been having these dreams for a long time, and then things end up happening. Can you search up Where Is My Friend Smile is a good song, I promise. How do I do that? I'm about to turn the comments off, I think, because it's just rude at this point. And see, I tell you I love you, and I show you kindness, and I don't even get like a thumbs up. Like it's money, right? I tell you every video. That just lets me know if I'm doing a good job getting the point across. The channel's not monetized. It'll never be monetized. We are doing a bad job, all of us. We all need to do better. All of us. Whether this is reverse psychology that the media is playing us on, all of it. I can't see what you're saying. So here we go. You've seen, like, there's enough of them at this point, okay? Now, does this mean every dream is true? Absolutely not. Does this mean because we've all had dreams like this that things are going to happen? Absolutely not. But everybody had these dreams, and then what happened? COVID happened. Lockdowns happened. Pretty much we're going through a culling, and I don't care if you believe me or not. If you can't see what's happening, tomorrow's video is going to be more fun. If maybe that's better for this crowd, I don't know. But God always tells his children when something's coming. He always tells them. We always get warnings, always. Right? When something's on fire, doesn't it get warm first, right? Yeah, right there. 154 views, that's all she got. But she is right on target. This is what's happening. We've been invaded. Like, that's already happened. Our media is blacked out. That's already happened. The Pope is probably deceased. It's already happened. That's why all this stuff's going crazy. The Queen passed before they actually said she passed. And again, those people are proxies anyways. They're just people on the screen, as far as I'm concerned. I still pray for whoever they actually are out in the world, but in our nation and all that stuff. Just because you have a dream of a physical event occurring doesn't mean that physical event itself will actually occur. What it means is a shake up, that things will be shook up. However, let me continue on with some actual research, shall we? Do that first. This is from the Smithsonian. And there's an Aztec depiction of warriors drowning as a temple burns in the background. New research links the scene to a 1507 earthquake. Look at the, if you see the little arc here, the blue thing, I was watching something a few years back about how they think that, Noah's flood was worldwide, and that the ark, it's very possible, it could have been in certain situations, it could have worked if it was round. And I thought that was just fascinating. But I'm not mechanically inclined, so I like to watch things like that, and it helps me to have a better handle on how things work and operate. So a 16th century Aztec manuscript known as the Codex Telluriano Remenses contains the oldest surviving written record of earthquakes in the Americas. As Geraldo, okay, they're just name dropping here. We'll get to the point. This is the research. This is all their and I know we don't all trust experts, but there are certain people that are well studied. So whether you believe the news or whether you believe what I'm saying, discernment is up to you. Like, that's not why I'm here. Well, I try to help you guys see things, but again, sometimes I get crowds that are different and new and don't understand what I'm doing here. And that's okay, but we shouldn't be presumptuous with each other, and we should all be kinder to each other, and we have to do a better job. We've taught AI how to behave. We never told it to be honest. It doesn't have to be honest. It doesn't have to tell the truth. I don't imagine. Depending on like who programs these AI apps. Chat GPT, is that what it's called? Who programmed that? Did they have good ethics? Were they morally sound? We have to start asking the right questions, because our society is on the downturn and we've all been a part of it. And that's another reason I do this. We are Babylon. Look what happened in Sodom and Gomorrah, and you guys don't have to believe. And it's not about panic, but maybe people should panic. Like, maybe that's what needs to happen. I don't know. But the cognitive dissonance and just the overall, how unconcerned everyone is for their fellow man is discouraging. It wasn't like this when I was growing up in the 80s. I mean, it was starting, but it wasn't this bad. And you can see the damage it's doing to the young people too, the young mothers, the ones who are used to be on reality TV shows, the ones on YouTube, the ones that crash and burn, the kids in the Disney shows, on and on it goes. We've corrupted ourselves, and every time this happens in a society, how do you clean up the mess? If you had an ant farm, right? If you had an ant farm, or you had a little biodome, and you had, I don't know, something you liked, whatever it was, like Pauly Shore and all them were in the biodome, and you were outside of it, and you can't live in there, not, at least not all the time, not all of you. You can send parts of yourself in there, right? Like Jesus, but you can't, like. So what do you do to clean up the mess that transgression causes? And transgression, like, that's not a bad word. We all make mistakes. We all do things that are wrong because we were taught backwards. When we, by the time we got here, everything was already backwards. So anyways, here's real research. The Codex contains references to 12 separate earthquakes that took place in the region between 1460 and 1542. It's not surprising. Gosh, I hate ads. It is not surprising that pre-Hispanic records exist describing earthquakes for two reasons. Earthquakes are frequent in this country, and secondly, earthquakes had a profound meaning in the cosmological view of the original inhabitants of what is now Mexico. The pictograms or drawings provide little information about the earthquake's location, size, or scale or destruction. Coupled with other records written after the Spanish conquest, however, they offer modern scholars a new perspective on Mexico's seismic history. Forbes notes that the team used symbols representing solar eclipses or specific days, as well as Latin, Spanish, and Italian annotations added to the codex by later observers to date the earthquakes. And everybody kept asking me, and I see them do it with other people too, like me, kind of like me, and, well, where are you going to go? Where should we go? Or where are you moving to? Well, where are you going? Man, it's not about hiding. Like, that's not what this is about at all. If we were meant to get out, we would have been out. Like, we're in Babylon. What happened at Sodom and Gomorrah? The best thing I can tell everybody is to prepare your hearts, because we've already dealt with the lockdowns and all that stuff. Something bigger is going on with our government. If you look at all the resignations over the past 3 years, there's not going to be a government left. We don't have a government, guys. Something behind the scenes is happening. All the delayed trials in court cases. This is something much bigger that's happening. And they know about it. That's why the changes in government are taking place. So again, I'll say that with symbols representing solar eclipses. One pictogram highlighted in the study depicts soldiers drowning as a building burns in the background. Researchers matched the event to a 1507 earthquake that damaged a temple and drowned 1,800 warriors in a river likely located in southern Mexico. I find it very interesting that the earthquake damaged a temple, considering they were pagan temples and they regularly and openly practiced human sacrifice. See, some people do these things and they think it will stop these events. Like if you hear the story about the tribes and getting all the virgins and tossing them in the volcano, and it would appease the gods so they wouldn't get angry. That's backwards. You do these things and you cause a shaking in the heavens and the earth, because it cries out for justice. And I know this is hard talking, and I know people aren't used to this anymore, but we're adults. Like we're grown, man. Most of us. There is nothing to panic over. I don't know if anything like this is going to happen this time, but I know that the militaries and the UN and all the chess pieces on the board are being shuffled around and rearranged. And I know it's a Game of Thrones. And I've told you all the clues. Strangers have walked up to me and just said random things to me. And it all fits. It all makes sense to me. This is unprecedented, what you're seeing take place in society right now. At least in our generation, our lifetime, since the Spanish flu. We haven't seen quarantines like this ever. Across the board, across the world. And now, like I said, everybody's resigning from public office. Almost like so many people. I wouldn't even know where to start to get you guys a list. You'd have to start from the top, I guess the top down, and look at Congress and Senate and all that. And then look at your local people. And then add that together with like all the people who were jumping out of buildings in New York the last 5 or 10 years, all the bankers and stuff. It damaged a temple. That's interesting. The quake coincided with a solar eclipse, a phenomenon represented in the codex by a circle with lightning bolts coming out of it. Remember me talking about rubber? And not wearing them foamy shoes? Rubber shoes? Wow, that's fascinating. Look at that, guys. How old is that? Well, 50. Well, it's very old. Well, that's not it. I know that. You know what I'm saying. According to the Spanish newspaper, okay. Voz Populi. Pre-Hispanic Mesoamerica societies viewed the universe as cyclical. Just like the spirals. Just like the Fibonacci. Another code I got at the very beginning of this that I've been talking about since it started. Pre-Hispanic Mesoamerican societies view the universe as cyclical, meaning things happen in patterns. They repeat, with periods known as suns ending in floods, fires, earthquakes, and other natural disasters before new eras began. In order for something new to come, the old thing has to be swept away. Okay? And again, it's not about doom and gloom. That's not what this is about. I don't believe in death. When everybody asks where all these tribal people went, how funny is that? They're still here. They didn't go anywhere. Do they remember it? I don't know. Probably not. Well, maybe they do. I don't know as far as that goes with the pagan stuff. I don't understand some of it. So I'm not going to speak on it. Periods known as suns ending in floods, fires, and earthquakes and other natural disasters before new eras began. Each of the 5 suns was broken down into multiple 52-year cycles. That's interesting. Referred to as Tlal Olin or Nahui Olin in the indigenous Nahuatl language. Earthquakes are represented in Aztec pictograms by 2 symbols, Olin, movement, and Tlali, earth. Per the study, Olin consists of 4 helices, like ages, symbolizing the 4 cardinal directions. While Tlali features 1 or multiple layers of multicolored markings denoting precious gemstones. The codex contains other iterations of these glyphs, but experts are unsure what they signify. I would be very interested in seeing that, especially with the gemstones. We talked about that because the Bible talks about, I think the Bible's a map, and I don't have it figured out yet because I don't even know where I'm at, but I'm getting there. Denoting precious gemstones, because the gemstones are supposed to have the names of the 12 tribes in them. The original 12 tribes, the original gemstones, has their name engraved in them. And they are above the gates to New Jerusalem. I think that's where they're at. Gosh, I would have loved to have been Indiana Jones. The codex, okay, we read that. Aztec codices chronicle the civilization's history and mythology through unique symbols. Blah, blah, blah. 3 sections, a calendar, a handbook detailing ritual practices, and an account of Aztec migration from the late 12th century to 1562, when Mexico was under control of Spanish colonizers. Why are you walking on me? Oh, get off of me. As David Keyes wrote for the Aztecs' intellectual and literacy achievements. But new research conducted, yeah, man, they were wise. They were smart. Demonstrating that Aztec script was far more sophisticated than often believed. Sadly, many scholars over the centuries have tended to dismiss the Aztecs' hieroglyphic system because it looked to Europeans like picture writing. But what we're talking about, picture writing, might actually be the right way to do things here because words have so much power. All right, so there is some detailed evidence for you, factual evidence, take it or leave it, from the Smithsonian. We know that mainstream lies, but these are things that they're trying to cover up, so take it for what it's worth. Now, here's some other random person, but I want to take you to this first. What is this one? There was a quake. Reveals the day of Jesus' crucifixion. Researchers believe you do not have to be religious to hear this information. Let me just get that out there right now. Do you see the date right there? Jesus, as described in the New Testament, was most likely crucified on Friday, April 3rd. When is our eclipse coming? April 8th. I find that pretty interesting, especially considering there's room for error there when you're talking about dates, right? There's some leeway, there's some room, some playroom there, right? So April 3rd is when their best guesstimate for when Christ was crucified. And April 8th is the last eclipse in the triangle and the X over the America. They base their conclusions on a review of what? What? Everyone telling me I'm trying to cause a panic. If you're panicking, that is something you need to address. Fear is not a spirit of God. Nobody should be in fear unless you need to wake up and you've not been shaken up yet. Most of us have been shaken up by now. And there's more coming. Like, this is what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to warn people when God warns us. Now, again, is it going to be an actual earthquake physically? I don't know. I have an idea, but I don't want to give it word, and I don't, maybe I'll write it down and put it in an envelope or something. But I don't know. I say what the Holy Spirit puts on my heart that like needs to be said, I guess. Or that's what I try to say. And I try not to say too much anymore. And I try to be more mindful of my words. But if I get a little angry, I mean, it doesn't mean I'm going to do any harm to anybody. It means I'm trying to tell you to make a point like, hey, man, these are things we should all be working on at this point. We should all be doing better. We shouldn't be doing what we've been doing. Like, everybody has branded themselves and everybody's turned into a caricature. And how many of us are really prepared for that day you meet your maker? Buddhists do this every day. That's how they live their lives. That's why they're so carefree. They've already faced that. They've already dealt with, they've planned it out. They know what like it's done for them. We live in a very materialistic society, and I love my neighbors, and I love America, and I love God, and I love my dogs, and I love my children, and I love my husband. However, love does not mean that you're blind. Love does not mean that you neglect your obligation to act in love or speak in love and tell that person, hey man, I'm worried about you. We're going the wrong way. And so I'm telling whoever's listening, fellow Americans, fellow human beings, fellow soul beings, whatever you are, fellow mothers, fellow whatever, however you can relate to me. I think we're going the wrong way. I think we got to be working on other things. And I have nothing, I know our society is like an entertainment society. I understand that too. I'm saying take a walk. Take 5 minutes and go for a walk with your wife, with your child. Hold their hands. Get away from the screens. Do something enriching to your family or to your personal life or to your skill set. Learn a new skill. But we were given a grace period, at least I was, of a few years here. And what do we have to show for it? What have we done with it? And I don't mean what stuff do you have? How much money is in your bank? That's nothing like that. I'm talking about being charitable to other people, being kind to other people. All I see on those homeless channels or even the ones, the religious ones, people just basically screaming at them through the computers. You're mentally ill. Go take your medicine. We need to do better. It's not okay to be that way. It's not good. It's not kind. It's not. There's a reason that other places see America the way they see us. And I'm saying this because I love you. When the Son of God was here, it ripped the veil in half. It tore the veil itself. It brought the spiritual and the physical together for that moment. Everything was revealed. It was its own apocalypse at that moment. And what was revealed was that we were monsters. Look at what we've done. Just because he let it happen doesn't make it okay. It doesn't make it okay. Just because somebody let you do something. Well, they didn't tell me no. They should have been smarter. Well, if you're homeless, that's your own fault. You gotta help you. You gotta help yourself. Man, you're gonna need help soon. Everybody does in their life. Everybody. You're gonna need help. And you're gonna ask somebody, and they're gonna give you exactly what you gave people like me. People who maybe didn't fit in high school, who were smaller than you, looked funny, wore glasses, weren't that great at sports. It's all coming around to each and every one of us, no matter what group you're in. And God has given us grace. We had a grace period. What did we do with it? And I'm showing you proof here. I'm not trying to get you in a panic. But you know what? Maybe that's what's needed. When are we going to learn? What happened to him was so great, and it affected things on such a spiritual and physical level that the earth itself shook and the sun was darkened. Everyone talks about these 3 days of darkness. Things are cyclical. Something is going to happen. Something probably careless or stupid or monstrous like this again in some way. And I have a few ideas of what it might be. And it's all, this is, again, it's cyclical. I'm not saying Christ himself is going to die again. I'm saying something is going to happen, and it's probably going to be an inversion of this in some way. Or we're going to anger God. We're going to do one final thing. And that's it. And it's going to be directly related to how we've allowed our most vulnerable to be treated. Look into what they're doing with stem cells right now. That right there, what Biden talked about for a moment last night, if he somehow, if he makes good on that promise, and I don't know how he can, currently with what we're supposed to be believing about the leader of the, the free world, sure. If he lets that, if they let that happen with the embryos and the frozen eggs, like that's gonna be bad. It's gonna be bad. God's wrath. We sacrifice babies every single day. Every single day. And our genes are being tinkered with all the time. All the time. Many people have dreamt about what's coming. Many people have warned about it for probably 100 years now. You say, why hasn't he come yet? Why hasn't he come yet? So that more people could repent. More people could have their Holy Spirit activated. More people could graduate to the next level. Because as it is so far, very few people have graduated. So in 1849, Currier and Ives' lithograph shows the tumult surrounding Jesus' crucifixion. Geologists say the historical event may have taken place April 3rd in the year 33, based on an analysis of seismic records. The latest investigation reported in International Geology Review focused on earthquake activity at the Dead Sea, located 13 miles from Jerusalem. The Gospel of Matthew 27 mentions that an earthquake coincided with the crucifixion. And when Jesus had cried out again in a loud voice, he gave up his spirit. At that moment, the curtain of the temple was torn in two from top to bottom. that physical thing occurred, and then spiritually, well, that physical thing occurred because of spiritually what was taking place in the spiritual realm. The earth shook, the rocks split, and the tombs broke open. To analyze earthquake activity in the region, geologists, there's all their there's all their titles. Titles aren't important unless you're doing something good with them, unless you are serving others. We are supposed to be public servants. I think I'm going to go watch Man in the Iron Mask again. It's been a long time. If you haven't seen it, you should probably just check it out. It's a good movie. I don't know. Leonardo DiCaprio, though, was never, like, my favorite. The latter period occurred during the years when Pontius Pilate was procurator of Judea and when the earthquake of the Gospel of Matthew is historically constrained. The day and date of the crucifixion, Good Friday, are known with a fair degree of precision. But the year has been in question. In terms of textual clues to the date of the crucifixion, William quoted a Nature paper authored by Colin Humphreys. All four Gospels, and Tacitus and Annals, 10:15:44, agree that the crucifixion occurred when Pontius Pilate was procurator of Judea from AD 26 to 36. I love when atheists say there's no proof. You have no evidence. You have no evidence. No, you just aren't very smart about your studies. You have to study to show yourself approved. There goes that right here. All four Gospels say the crucifixion occurred on a Friday. All four Gospels agree that Jesus died a few hours before the beginning of the Jewish Sabbath, nightfall, on a Friday. The Synoptic Gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, indicate that Jesus died before nightfall on the 14th day of Nisan, right before the start of the Passover meal. That's interesting. What was I going to say? Oh, Friday the 13th started the original, like it started becoming like a cult thing when they ambushed the Templars and killed them and raided from them, and they stole the church's coffers because, they were good. You're being told now that they were bad, but they weren't bad. John's Gospels differs from the Synoptics, apparently indicating that Jesus died before nightfall on the 15th day. When data about the Jewish calendar and astronomical calculations are factored in, a handful of possible dates result, with Friday, April 3rd, Friday, April 3rd, 33, being the best match according to the researchers. That's weird, man. 3's always been my number. In terms of the earthquake data alone, Williams and his team acknowledge that the seismic activity associated with the crucifixion could refer to an earthquake that occurred sometime before or after the crucifixion and was in effect borrowed by the author of the Gospel of Matthew, and a local earthquake between 26 and 36 AD that was sufficiently energetic to deform the sediments of Ein Gedi, but not energetic enough to produce a still extant and extra biblical historical record. In terms of earthquake data alone, Williams acknowledged the seismic could refer to. If the last possibility is true, this would mean that the report of an earthquake in the Gospel of Matthew is a type of allegory. Williams is studying yet another possible natural happening associated with the crucifixion: darkness. 3 of the 4 canonical Gospels reported darkness from noon to 3. And we always talk about the 3 days of darkness being a prophecy. So everything, it's almost like the end is the beginning and the beginning is the end. Okay, that's weird. Williams is investigating if there are dust storm deposits in the sediments coincident with the earthquake that took place in the Jerusalem region during the early 1st century. That's wild. All right, what's the other one? But there was another one I had. Oh, this one. Okay, this person actually put these dates together, but the website is like defunct. This is an order website. This is not a warning of imminent danger, but rather a tap on the shoulder to be aware of the coming full moon eclipse on December 21st and what history tells us might occur. Here are historical dates. Oh, so here are the historical dates of full lunar eclipses from 2001 to 2010. So right here, this list, where is it? That list right there, that is lunar eclipses, okay? Events which occurred within 2 weeks prior and or 2 weeks after the last 6. January 2001. So the eclipse was the 9th if you look up the list. A magnitude 7.6 earthquake shook the Indian province of YOURE. It was one of the 2 most deadly earthquakes to strike India in its recorded history. The death toll was 19,727. Number of injured at 166,000. Wow. So events which occurred, so that month in January, that happened. So that was, okay, so May 2003. So he's saying the eclipse happened on May 16th. Turkey, at least 176 people have died and 521 people were injured after a magnitude 6.4 earthquake. I remember that. My son was born that year. Several public buildings collapsed in the center of the Bing city vicinity. Wow. So the next one, November 9th, 2003 was the eclipse. So he's saying November 17th, 2003, Alaska. One of the largest, I remember that too, one of the largest earthquakes in U.S. history, measuring 7.8 magnitude at Rat Island, Alaska. Rat Island? Rat, are you serious? That was another clue. If you've heard my testimony, you've heard me talk about it. October 2004. So they're saying the lunar eclipse was October 28th, 2004. So Japan, a series of power. Yep. That's when the, Fukushima, wasn't it? No, that was 2011. Fukushima was 2011. Jolted northern Japan, 6.7. All right, so what's the next one? March 6, 2007. And the eclipse was March 3rd. Sumatra. 2 quakes hit Sumatra, measuring 6.4 and 6.3. Over 60 fatalities. There's your 666. And 460 serious injuries. Oh my God. And it takes forever to, like, you never recover from that, at least not in our society. Our infrastructure is, we are not in any place to be dealing with the plates moving around. And I did find something about, I think, if I can locate it real quick. Well, I thought I had it open for you. What's the next one? August 28th. Okay, August 15th, 2007, Peru, an earthquake measuring 7.4. Okay, so February 21st, 2008, Indonesia, a powerful 7.4 earthquake. December 21st, event has not yet occurred, but most likely will. Should we look it up and see if anything happened in 2010 that year? All right, where's the first? That's actually a really good link on that. Oh no, where did it go? Shoot. All right, what is it called? The Madrid fault line. I had found a link about the seismic zone. Oh, actually, it's just a picture. It's a thumbnail, you guys. So it tells you, within the next, they were expecting, and I think the article was written a while ago now, that they've been expecting some type of quake is due in the New Madrid zone now. That's what they've been saying for a while now. Let's go see if it says anything. The New Madrid fault system was responsible for the 1811-1812 New Madrid earthquakes. Now, the problem with this, and this is what I said before, the problem with this is that, I'm sorry, I got lost in my thought there. Hold on. Magnetic potential map of the real foot rift. In California, for example, they have earthquakes all the time. So imagine a plate that's busted up into a bunch of little pieces with a hammer, right? That's California. That's literally their plate under there. This one here has a plate under it, but it's not broken into that many pieces because it doesn't have regular earthquakes like that. So if it does have a big one, it's going to ring like a bell, and it's going to echo, and it's going to travel further than the ones in California do. That's why you can be in California, you know, pretty much across the street and not feel if somebody else had an earthquake because all their plates that jumbled up. But that's also why they're in danger of falling off into the ocean. So, yeah. I did not mean to kind of lose my cool earlier, but I take things pretty seriously when you're trying to warn. It's not about panic. It has nothing to do with panic. It has to do with apathy. We're all, myself included, we're all in such a state of apathy, of like this apathetic cognitive dissonance. We have been, and this is why I like that game review that we did with the We Happy Few. We have been so bombarded, and it's nobody's fault, one person's fault. We've been so bombarded with media, with books, with billboards, with advertisements on people's shirts and shoes, and idiocracy. We've been so bombarded with that sometimes it takes a real shock to wake people up. And that's what I needed to wake up. Only, for me, it was on a very personal level. But our society also, like, we need to wake up. Now, I told you a little bit about Illinois, what I tell you about Chicago and stuff going on there, and how it seems like they're just trying to keep people out of that area. I talked about Arkansas, about how, for whatever reason, people from Arkansas keep bullying me online and, like, gaslighting me and just all these random things. Kentucky, Tennessee, they actually have caves there. And so Arkansas is also, like, they're on a giant, that pun was not intended, but I guess maybe it was. They're on a giant mineral, or basically a giant gemstone of like quartz and quartz caves and just all this stuff. And I have a feeling that that those are remnants of the giants. Like, I don't know, all these stories that we tell, Snow White, all of these stories, they have a little bit of these truths from our not so distant past. So this is what it looks like, right? And that's showing you a little bit about how the layers operate and what's where. Now, if you want to do any of your own research, I mean, you always could, and check it out. In diverse places is what the Bible says. And that's Dyersburg. That's weird. It's spelled weird. Okay, so it tells you where the faults are. The continental drift is what happened, like, is it pre-Diluvian? Hold on, I'm reading and talking. That's not good. Describing it. Pre-Cambrian age. The rift failed to split the North American continent, but it has remained as in a scar or a zone of weakness deep underground. So the whole area is weak. It's an area of, it's vulnerable, right? Okay. And it is. So basically from there, it's showing you. And I think the red dots have something to do with USGS. But we'll check it out real quick. The zone had 4 of the largest earthquakes in recorded North American history, with moment magnitudes estimated to be as large as 7 or greater. all occurring within a 3-month period between December 1811 and February 1812. Was there an eclipse during that? All right, hold on. I want to look up one more thing, and I just want to see. I'm just curious. What is it called? What was it called, the blackout? When everything blacked out in North America? Oh, shoot. When the grid went down. Was it the 1800s too? Why do I keep forgetting? No, not that. No. It was named after that dude, and I can't remember. Hurricane Maria, blah, blah, blah. It starts with a C. I forget. Now I'm going to have to attach it, because I'm going to have to look it up. I'd be really interested in August 17th, 2020. Why is that standing out? Sri Lanka. I don't know why. I wonder how closely related. I'm going to have to cross-reference that. I'm sorry for doing that to you guys while I'm in the middle of a video here. But that's kind of how we do it. $1800s. Okay. Why is it that... I'm going to have to cross-reference that, you guys. But I have a thought. I have a thought to maybe do a part 2. Just to see... 1880s, there's one. Power transmitter. Alright, anyways. I apologize for that. Let's look at a map. Right there. Okay, so if you look at this, right? That is pretty much exactly the path. Because I live in Northeast Ohio, and I will see totality here. At least almost totality here. And that's pretty much the path that this eclipse is taking. Now you would say, why would it affect the Earth? Well, a couple of reasons. It'll affect the tide, right? And anything that affects the tides in the ocean affects the Earth as well, obviously. That's one thing. The other thing is a little more cosmic, I guess. As above, so below. If it's happening up there, it's going to somehow be reflected down here as well. And again, they know all these things. There's a reason for all of the things that you've seen occur in the last several years. There's a reason for everything being locked down and the gridlock and all that stuff. It's just, there's a reason for all that. I'm going to also put together, I have some images. That way you guys can compare them side by side. And I will post them to the community tab. And if you want the links for them, I could post the links in the comment section as well. And you can look for yourself. The goal has never been to cause panic. Like, it's never been that. Yeah, but you're not, I don't know who you are, so I don't really want to see what you have to say about it yourself. No offense. They said that we were due, but I can't remember, within, I think, the next 20 years, and that was back in the early 2000s, they said that. And those things, again, these things are cyclical. These are things they can look at and say, wow, this happened here on this date and this date. It's going to happen again because the stars will be the same. Everything will be the same that day, right? Oh, it's blurry. Darn it. I'll post the pictures that I found. They're better than these ones, but I don't want to dox. Well, can I pause it? Like, hold on 1 second. All right, so this is a little easier. Don't believe they have any, okay. Like, because it never happens, right? I love how, you know that, right? You know that dreams aren't prophetic. You know for a fact that they're not. And I'm not even concerned about myself. Like, I don't care if you believe me or not. I don't know you. I don't know who you are. So your opinion doesn't matter to me personally. But have you looked in history at some of the great people who have lived and created inventions because of dreams they've had? Like, it is science, too. All you people that say you believe in science, that's science as well. Our dreams are not just leftover gunk. That's not what they are. And if you're believing the lie, then I'm sorry for you. But don't don't point fingers at me like you know that for a fact. You don't know that. You don't know. I'm done with the gaslight. I'm just done with it. Earthquake could hit in New Madrid seismic zone. The last time a severe earthquake occurred, and this is ironic, the numbers in the zone was a 6.6 magnitude event in 1895. There's around a 25% to 40% chance there could be another quake anytime in the next 50 years in the New Madrid seismic zone. I don't know what year this is from, though. I apologize. No, did I get another one in there? Oh, so again, if you see this, and it went, pretty much through Little Rock? Is this a blurry one? Oy. But yeah, that's very similar. Now again, is anything for sure going to happen? I don't know. But I know our Earth, our society has already been shaken up. And if you didn't get shook up, then that means the rest of us are going to have to wait for that to happen for you, too. So I guess I'll just be patient until everybody else decides that they want to treat each other decently and act like decent human beings again. And quit pointing fingers and pretending like you know something that you just don't know. You have no idea what my dreams are, just like I have no idea what yours are. I don't know. I don't know that about you, and I won't presume to know. But we need to do better. The way we talk to each other online is horrendous. It's horrible. And this channel is not to make money. That's not why I do this. But sometimes people need a hard talking to. I've had people abuse me, like, very badly on the channel and in real life because I do this, because I won't be quiet. I don't care. It has to, it's ignorance. It has to stop. Do better, man. Do better. Shame on you. All of you. I'm so over it. Just do better. Be nice. Be kind. You don't know whose help you're going to need tomorrow. You might need my help tomorrow. And I would help you. But can we just be kind? Is it that hard to be kind to each other and say not nice things? Kindness isn't always nice. And I'm trying to be kind to you by saying, for the last 5 years, wake up. We are going down the wrong road. There are consequences for actions. There are consequences for poor behaviors and poor choices and bad words. I know. My story is a cautionary story. I'm doing this to tell you, don't be like me. Don't do the things I did. I was totally lost to materialism. All I cared about was making sure I looked okay because I had super low self-esteem. It wasn't because I loved myself. It was because I did not love myself. We stopped hanging out as a family. The second that happened, the second you let anything interfere with your family, a house divided cannot stand. And our enemies know this, spiritually and physically. You know, humanity has been through some very bad times already, turning in their own neighbors into concentration camps just to save themselves, what, another week or two? Because they ended up beside them anyways. Did we learn nothing while they taught us about these things? Did we learn nothing? Even if it is just scare tactics, it's about time we started learning things. And just be kind. People are doing this trying to help you. And all you can do is point fingers. And it's ignorance. And I'm sorry nobody likes this video. Actually, I'm not sorry. Because I'm doing what needs to be done. Now look at this. Now, for those of you who've been here for my testimony, and most of you have not, or at least you're usually nicer to me if you have. This guy started, I don't know who he is. I'd never heard of him until yesterday. But I guess he's going through it. Now, you'll see a lot of celebrities. Hello. It's nice to see you. You'll see a lot of celebrities or whatever they are, the people on the screen. I find it very interesting. Again, all the similarities, right? Because Bam Margera, him too. A lot of people are openly being, I don't even know what word to use, abused, but that's not even, like, taken for granted. I'm not taken advantage of, misinformed, misled by their spouses. Like, Bam Margera is going through it, and he's waking up to what's happening around him. And when that first happens, I don't know what else to say other than you're a TI, a targeted individual. Like, that's what it feels like. Now, different people, different reasons, different folks, different strokes. I'm not going to get into that aspect of it right now. But I will say that it's the same stuff I went through. It's the same stuff a lot of the people that watch the channel have went through. The second you start waking up, the second you start talking about things, they do everything they can to discredit you. And the main thing they do, and they've always done it, is point a finger and call you crazy. If they can't get that to work, they'll get you hooked on a substance, and they'll call you a junkie, so that nobody will listen to you. Whether it's true or not doesn't matter. The damage is done. People will stop listening to you at that point. Wake up. Don't let this happen. Again, it is all to divide mankind. Not everyone here is of mankind. Like, I'm well aware of that. Like super hyper aware of that. And again, I don't care if you call me crazy. I don't care if you pull out my past and say, oh, she did this drug, she did that drug. So what, man? That doesn't make what I'm saying any less true. It just doesn't deal with it. It's a problem everybody else has with me. I'm not going to back down. I'm not going to be quiet and sit down and be pretty, because I'm not pretty anymore, number one. And girls aren't meant just to sit still and look pretty. Ryan Garcia is going through it, and he's come out and he's starting to say some things now. Again, I'm always very suspicious of this, because it's very easy when there's a lot of money on the line for people to just do this to their enemies. Like, say I sell shoes, and you do too, right? And we're competing for the market in New York City. Business is cutthroat, man. That's no joke. So what am I going to do to get people to stop buying from you? Well, if it's a mostly Christian nation, I'm going to tell everybody that you're a thief, or that you harm children, that you're a child abuser, right? That'll get everybody to stop going to your business, and then they'll have to come to mine. So I'm very careful about what I believe that comes out of the media, but it shows you how a story is framed, that just because somebody starts getting their independence and that their mouthpiece is no longer for sale, that they start speaking truth, that the machine comes after them the second they do it. Now, again, I'm very aware things look weird at this time, but he's talking about an earthquake too. And again, I think a lot of celebrities have left the building. I don't think they're in America. And I think there's a reason a lot of them still look like crap. It's because they're literally in their bunkers or whatever it is. A lot of them bought property in New Zealand a few years ago, I had read. Now, will that information actually go public? Did they actually do that? I don't know. But it does seem like things have changed. Like AI is running our news or something, our news set. I don't know. It's weird. Anyways, like part of it, not all of it, right? But some of it. Ryan is also a part of my testimony. Not that I don't know this person. But Tattoo Man, the one I called Diablo, the one that told me he was a fallen angel and then my life went to shit, the one who came from LA, the city of lost angels. Do I need to keep going? That one that was around when everybody started getting the black eyes. Because I've seen it all. Anything. And they got mad. What are you afraid of? I ain't afraid of nothing, man. I'm just not. I'm afraid of God telling me that I did not do what I was put here to do, which is why I'm not quiet. At this point, if you believe me or not, it doesn't bother me anymore. I don't care if people think I'm crazy. That doesn't bother me either. I just wish we would all get our collective shit together and quit hurling insults at each other and maybe start cooperating and, I don't know, building gardens in the city like I used to see on Sesame Street again. Wholesome activities. Wholesome. I don't want to see the unwholesome crap on the screens no more either. I don't really believe in censorship, but you shouldn't need it to this extent. When you want to like do research and all you get, or you open your mailbox online and all that's there is porn. Like, seriously. This is why men are treating women the way they're treating them. Because they see us as objects. Literally. There was a scientific study on it. They see us. They translate us into, they see us the same as they see a wrench on a table now, after watching so much porn. If everyone thinks that's just going to slide by without consequences for it, and introducing children to that equation, and everybody thinks like we're just all good, nothing bad's going to happen, you're playing right into their hands, the ones that hate humanity. They want us corrupted. That's the goal, is to corrupt us and to get us chastised, to get us under God's wrath like them. That's the goal. And I'm tired. I'm just tired. People don't care. I mean, I get it. Would I care? I wouldn't have cared 6, 7, 8, 10 years ago. No. Next video is going to be, I haven't decided if I'm going to do Hecate's Maze, but I did put it up. Or Ed Harris, because I just got to talk about Ed Harris. That dude is, I don't know if he's a really good analogy. Like, he's the God. He's either the God or the devil in his universe, whatever that is. But I'm going to call it the Ed Harris phenomenon, because we're going to do the Jim Carrey phenomenon too. If there's time, I don't know what's going to go on with the future. It'll probably take an act of God, but I'd be okay with it. I think the whole media should just go down. All of it at this point. Because we're not doing anything good with it. We could be learning skills on the internet. We could be learning things to do. I learned how to garden. I learned how to grow things. I've learned how to use technical things that really basic stuff. But hey, I've learned things. That's my personal opinion, and I'm allowed to have it. I can't do it. I don't know enough about it. It's going to take an act of God, I believe. I don't think mankind has the strength to put down their addictions at this point. And that's the problem. God is going to wipe the earth clean of sin again. And if you haven't let go of your sin, you're going to be wiped away with it.